Dr. Andre Haughton. Comrade
Hey
Dr.
guys,
Andre
what's up?
Haughton.
Can you see me?
Oh, we can see and hear you. We're not seeing your image, but we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh,
Good
so
night,
hold the
comrade. How you do? Oh, good man. Everything all
turn on the
right?
camera. Okay. Excellent. What's up, guys?
Yeah, everybody's nice.
It's good to be here. I've been meaning to join the show for quite some time, you know. But as you know, when we're on the
I am
ground and the
happy to
politics,
finally have you
we're on the
on. I
road,
am
so
so
we're kind
happy.
of busy, you know.
Yeah, man, me know. But that's all right. Me know
So
say the
what's
work
going
turn
on?
up down there.
Yeah,
Pardon
we've
me?
been improving. We've been improving. I mean, the
Thank you.
political landscape has been shifting in our favor. So
Yes, I
everything seems to
realize.
be on the up and up where our government is concerned. The people just want a genuine change. And they want a
Definitely.
positive change. And they know that the People's National Party has it in our capacity to do the right, you know, lift them up by their bootstraps instead of trying to have things trickled down to them.
Boy, to tell you how it going now, it not even a trickle down. It's like them stop a pipe. Them turn off a pipe totally. Cause it not trickle
Droplets.
down.
Droplets.
All right, sir. Yeah, man. So I was not aware that there was an issue at Bureau of Standards until you brought my attention to it this morning, Dr. Haughton. So tell the viewers and the listeners know what exactly is happening at Bureau of Standards.
Yes, in the last couple of days, there have been a couple of cyber attacks on the Bureau of Standards, and this has cost us, in terms of ransomware, over 231,000 US dollars. If you want to put that in Jamaican dollars, then it is about 36 million US dollars. So it's very 36 million Jamaican dollars. And over the last year, right? Over the last year, Jamaica has seen, and let me make sure I'm correct with the figure. Over the last year, Jamaica has seen over 43 million attempted cyber attacks. That was in
43 million.
43 million. So it's not just like those that go through, but there are a lot of people trying to hack into our computers, trying to figure out what exactly we're going on with and trying to tap into what we're trying to get done.
Jesus.
And it's very sad because we've been speaking about this for so long, and we want to be in a position where we are minimizing some of these attacks. And I don't think that enough effort is being put into it by the government in order to allow the country to minimize these attacks and to save our tax dollars. And we want to save our tax dollars because that's fundamental. You understand? So we have to think carefully about what we want to accomplish, and then we have to work hard to make sure that we get it done and we find ourselves in the right position to make sure that it works in our favor. So we have to change the approach. We have to change the approach, Kamala.
Dr. Haughton, aside from the Bureau of Standards, are you aware of the other government agencies or executive agencies that have been victims of cyber attacks?
Yeah, man. There have been cyber attack at Petrojam. There also have been cyber attack at the Financial Services Commission. And there have been a host of cyber attacks at other ministries, departments, and agencies. What I believe is that we have not been taking this technological advancement seriously. I mean, the government has been pushing for NIDS, and we support an integrated identification system. But what we also support is protecting people's data. Because now, in this new world, it's not just about dollars and cents, right? Information and so on is the new currency. So we have to now begin to think about how do we protect these valuable assets? How do we protect these people? Because what happens is that we're losing critical resources. Look at the government. They could not meet their budget target for revenue receipts, but yet still we're losing over $36 million to cyber attack. And I think we need to take this seriously. I think that we
That's a
need to
lot of money,
conduct. It's a big
It's
matter,
a
not just
whole
for
heap
you, it's
of
a
money
matter for
that.
the entire country.
That's a lot of money.
And this is just one incident. There are many incidents where we have lost revenue as a country because of these
But
cyber
why are we
attacks.
not hearing about it?
I mean, I think it's not sexy people. I think people now tend to major in the minor. They don't really want to hear about what is happening, especially things as it relates to computers, etc., etc. People tend to shy away from them. I think that because they don't realize that it's their tax dollars and it's not impacting them directly, they don't believe that they should participate in terms of understanding where we're going and what we need. And the
Why?
government, yeah, they are not prioritizing cybersecurity. I think that they think it's just something that people speak about, but it's nothing that's relevant.
You know, the thing about it though, Dr. Hahn, is this begs to question why is it that what is gonna happen when as you say the NITs come on now? What will happen when NITs
We
come
have to be
on?
careful with the needs, Kamla. We have to be very careful with the needs because, as I told you, we're living in a world now where data is the new currency. So the persons
Right.
who can access data, can access your information, they can use it, steal your identity. They can also tap into your financial resources, also use your identity to gain financial resources. And we don't think that the government is taking cybersecurity seriously. I think that they are just brushing it under the table. Like someone asked me a couple of nights ago, they don't think that this government travel. Because if they travel, they would go to other
Andrew, they
countries
are
and
Delaware
see
now. Dr.
examples.
Horton, Dr. Horton, and I can call you Dr. Horton because you did not get an honorary doctorate. You actually go a good school, go study, and you never beg nobody for no doctorate and them turn it down either. You go
No, I got the
school.
British Commonwealth Scholarship to do my PhD.
The man right. The man never but the people them there Delaware. So I don't know how is it that them don't travel in a doctor because we hear people calling them Dr. Brogard and is an honorary doctorate. Them never work hard feet like you. Them don't
I
even know
mean,
the
in
protocol.
Jamaica, everyone can call themselves what they may, but everyone know exactly who they are. So it's not a title, it's a way of life. It's a way of thinking
That
and
is
it's an
it.
approach towards problem solving. And that's the problem.
There
A
we
lot
go.
of people in Jamaica, they belittle the PhD and say that it means poor, hungry, and distress. But at the same time, they want to be called that and this without actually working for it. And I
Without
have no
working for
problem. You
it.
can call anyone what you want to call them. But when it comes to serious discourse, when it comes to a conversation, then you will know exactly who are the researchers and who are the problem solvers.
That is
And that
it.
is what a PhD affords you, the ability to analyze, which gather, analyze, and present data in whatever format you want to show it. So I have students who are non-PhD students but are brilliant nonetheless. They have the ability to conduct research and they have been contributing towards enhancing the overall approach to research, not just in Jamaica, but all across the world. I'm not caught up in the name thing. I'm caught up in
Yeah.
what do we need to do to move a nation of such remarkable people forward. Let me give you an example, Kamla. When I went to
Yeah.
Brazil, right, I saw the gas stations in the middle of the road. So if you're going left, you can turn in the gas station. If you go in the opposite direction, you can turn in the gas
Can
station.
turn.
You don't have to go to the stoplight and make a U-turn because the gas station is on the other side or
Practicality.
whatever the case may be. And I was startled because I'm saying, I never thought of that. And it's just through observing it that I realized that leaders across the world are doing simple things and solving big problems.
That
You
is
know,
right.
the beaches in Brazil is another thing. The beaches are open access to everyone, right? And when
Yes.
you're there, there is no hotel that can monopolize a particular beach. There is no person there to bribe the government to say, oh, we don't want black people on our beaches because black people
We
are
spoke
bad for
about this
tourism.
just last night.
The
Just last
beaches
night we were
are
talking
home to
about this.
everyone, and the tourists get to interact with the natives and they get to learn the culture while there. And I think that
Exactly.
a country like Jamaica, everyone comes not just to be quarantined as if they are prisoners living
Exactly.
a good life, but they come to learn and be a part of the general culture. And the beaches play an important role. Take Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay, for example. It was a public beach. You could go there any time of night, any time of day. We used to play football there, but now the government has taken it over and they close the beach very early and close the park very early. So if you leave work at 7, 8, 9 o'clock, you want to walk and hear some waves and just clear your mind because these jobs
One
nowadays for these
second,
people are
Andre. They
very
said that it's
stressful.
echoing. Give me a second, Andre. They said that it's echoing. Let me turn down the volume on this thing a little. Let me see if it's better. All right, go ahead now.
Yeah, man. We could have played football in the night. We could have walked the beach at night. We could have done so many things. They
I
destroy the
remember
football
those
field,
days.
build a one basketball court that you have to rent to use, build a park for the kids that they have to pay to use, and it's a public space. And these are the things that we have to speak about because this government is not a government for the people. And we keep seeing instances where the things they implement, the type of things they do are incongruent with creating a peace of mind. And they speak about mental health, but what are they doing to enhance the mental health or to prevent the unhealthy mental breakdown of many people?
Yeah. You know, that beach thing is something that touch home to us because just last night on the program, Dr. Ryan Simpson, who was my guest, shared that less than 1% of our beaches are available to us.
Can you imagine?
That's crazy. 1%. You
Can you
know?
imagine?
Anyway, this thing now is very serious in terms of the date, just the data protection. The data protection. I mean, do you know what steps I'm just throwing this out there. Do you know what steps the government has been taken to secure our data? Have you been in
I
dialogue
don't
with
think
any of
that
them?
these people have been taking any steps, Kamla. I think that these people definitely have forgotten about what is important. And I think that we need to begin to look at what they're doing and to see how best we can, one, understand what they're trying to accomplish, and two, make suggestions to them. Because even though they are doctors and doctorates and whatever, I don't think that they're very clever people.
They're
So
not.
sometimes you have to assist, you have to help out. You can't just leave it up to them to make the decisions for you. You have to be the ones to contribute. I think we need to conduct security audits. We need immediate audits of all government systems and networks to pinpoint weaknesses. And this is fundamental because these weaknesses are important for us to think about. I think we need to establish security standards, cybersecurity standards. We need to implement uniform security protocols across all government ministries and agencies, departments, and so on. We need to support eGov, right? We need to ensure sufficient funding for national IT authority to enhance their ability to contribute towards national security. Remember, security is not just a physical body alone. There are a lot of people living
Yeah.
inside their homes and they have their avatars running up and down on the computer, working,
Yes.
doing activities in Roblox, building houses on the internet. Last week I bought a pool for a house that my daughter built in
Wow.
Roblox, and me use real money. So I'm showing you real money, real money. So I'm showing you that people are now in a new world. The metaverse is taking off, and
Yes.
people are now beginning to find out that sometimes they can enjoy their lives without going outdoors. They can still swim.
Without
They can
interacting with real people.
because they are interacting with avatars, and it gives you the ability to be who you want to be. So you can change your hairstyle, you can change your whole persona, you can do whatever the case may be. I think the government need to promote more collaboration, enhance partnerships among government bodies, among private sector entities, and also gain international support, because this is important. I mean, a lot of countries rely on Jamaica for entertainment, rely on Jamaica for services. And I think that a lot of countries will be willing to assist us where we fall off. It's just the willingness of the government. I think that we are not so adept to moving in a digital way, because the non-digitalization of a lot of things in Jamaica contributes or facilitates a lot of the corruption that takes place.
Exactly.
And that is why a lot of people are reluctant to push for us to increase the overall digital economy domestically. Education and public awareness is going to become important. We need to initiate widespread cybersecurity education. We cannot just toss it under the mat and make it appear as if it's a scenario where cybersecurity is irrelevant and the computer is just a toy. The computer is not a toy, and the Internet of Things is now becoming a bigger economy than the real physical economy gradually over time. So that has implications for our GDP, implications for our productivity, and implications for how we facilitate the overall advancement of a nation of such remarkable people. We need stronger regulatory framework. And because, in Parliament it's 49 to 14, they tend to overpower us where a lot of the decision making is concerned. And a lot of people don't understand how countries are governed, right? They believe that any law that is passed is just a law, it doesn't mean anything. But laws are what determine who has rights and who don't. Laws are what determine who can do what. And I think that we need to approach it in such a way where everyone begins to benefit from what we are doing and what we have to offer, and how we move together to create this digital economy as a country.
Oh boy, that is a lot to unpack, because first and foremost, who is your counterpart in the government?
There are so many of them. Mine is
because I can't, and the only person who I seem to remember is this new senator, Dr. Dana Morris
Yes,
Dixon.
so Dana is a part of it, and then Darrell Vaz is a part of it. Darrell Vaz is a part of it, and then Arbin Hill is a part of it. I am science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship.
Right.
Darrell Vaz,
science and technology.
Science, technology, and innovation. So the entrepreneurship aspect of it was left off of his portfolio, and then they now move the technology part to Dana. So now I'm shadowing both persons. But I'm not seeing anything significant being done. I have a task force of capable, able-bodied people, a lot of entrepreneurs, some ambassadors, and some Silicon Valley tech persons who have made a fortune from raising funds and developing technological products and so on. And we are creating a blueprint to make sure that when we get into power, we know exactly how we're going to move forward in terms of creating the right atmosphere for Jamaica to enhance its overall foundation of science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. When you look at it, Kamala, not much is being done. Jamaica has a science, technology, and innovation roadmap, but all it does is praise fiction, things that are not being done. So this government is very good at writing stuff, telling stuff in the papers about we plan to do this, we want to create this, but there are no timelines as to by when we plan to execute this. There is no Gantt chart as to what we hope to achieve in this 3 months versus what we hope to achieve in 6 months versus what we hope to achieve in a year or what we hope to achieve in 5 years. And I think that in order for us to move forward, we definitely have to begin to think about what do we hope to achieve as a country and set specific timelines and targets so that we can have measurable benchmarks that we're working towards. And I think that is what separates us from them. And countries who have been able to advance, who have been able to increase the value of technology, who have been able to innovate their way towards economic development, these countries put in place timelines and they're not creating fictitious arguments in pamphlets and papers just to look good.
You know, one of the biggest issues I find, Dr. Haughton, is that we are not um, we're not educating our children in terms of keeping up with digitization. You understand?
Exactly. But the
Making
children, they are keeping up whether or not we educate them. I think they are
well
the ones who need to educate us. I was trying to log on
to
to your
one
TikTok a
point,
while
but then
ago.
how no? Because there's a gap, you know. Because I hear these government members saying that our young people are not skilled enough, right, to take up the jobs that are now available. Because as we go along, more jobs will require all of this digital knowledge. Yeah, as you say, I agree with you. A lot of them know things, right?
I'm
But
like,
why
couldn't
is it
log
that
on
we
to your live
can't?
a while ago. It's my daughter who had to come and show me
I
how
realized
the
that
live
somebody
button
else
is.
was showing you.
Yeah, man, TikTok confusing. I'm seeing all these buttons here and there,
And
a
she come
top, a
figure it out
bottom,
for
or a
you.
both, and like, I need to do a course in TikTok.
But how do we know? Because the children know these things.
Yeah,
But
it comes
how?
natural to them. And they have experience in it more than we do. We
So
think
why is
we
it
are.
that we prefer as a nation now to employ foreigners to come here and do the things where picnic can Jamaican kids can do? Because that is what I'm
Remember,
seeing happening now.
Jamaica has a long history with slavery,
Yeah,
where the bulk of the population participate in mediocre jobs for less than our minimum wage,
that is
while
true.
foreigners come and they get the higher paying jobs and they are the real entrepreneurs, right?
Yep.
So that sort of thinking has rolled over into modern day, where concessions and waivers are given to foreigners who come here, but domestic Jamaicans who want to enhance their own business possibilities are restrained and bombarded by a host of bureaucracy, a host of initial taxes in the first year,
Yep.
and a host of other requirements that foreigners are not necessarily required to to participate in.
For startup.
We need a holistic restructuring of many things. I think that a lot of the laws, a lot of the constitutional elements are restraining us as a people. And I think that unless we begin to start to think about freedom, start to think about our fellow Jamaicans as being decent, upstanding citizens instead of belittling their efforts and trying to be the man, because that is what I realize has been happening across the length and breadth of Jamaica. Everybody wants to be the Don. Everybody wants to say, I am better than that person. I have more money than that person. I have more status than that person. And these are the things that create the universal divide. And now more than ever, it is important for us to realize that in Jamaica, uptown, downtown country, we all have to get along. And in that
Exactly.
process of getting along, we have to begin to appreciate the relevance and importance of every single individual. And when we begin to appreciate the relevance and importance of every individual, we start having a general self-worth for ourselves and realize that within the construct of nature, there are many different diverse facets and many people with different assets, but we all come together to create a reasonable society that advances based on our own discretion and appreciation for collective development.
Boy, that is really a mouthful. I don't even know how to unpack all of this. All right, the bottom line though is Dr. Haughton, just to move back to the core argument that we were having, the core discussion, because you see the thing with your portfolio is so wide. That's what I know say you're a brainiac, you know.
It's a broad
Because your
portfolio,
portfolio
right?
is so wide, it can carry you anywhere.
Yeah, it's a broad portfolio, man. What I've had to do is to try
My
and
head that hurt me just to think
break
about
it up
it.
in different aspects. So within my task force, we have different committees. So I have one committee that looks at entrepreneurship issues, and these issues are far and wide. I mean, we have to meet with the Jamaica Small Business Association to
Exactly.
really unpack everything and to put the measures in place. That means when we get into government, it's not a scramble and a race to see what we need to get done. We have everything laid out for the 5 years that we'll be in government. We have another committee that looks specifically at science and technology, and their focus is really to see how we can advance science and tech. And science and tech is really broad, you know. Science and
Very
tech is
broad.
very, very broad. But prime among our discussions is the ability to solve the water problem through science and technology and solve the energy crisis through science and technology. And we believe that if we are able to tackle those issues head on up front, then we'll solve half of Jamaica's problems, because half of our problems is because
So
of
you believe you can
malpractice.
solve the water problem through your ministry?
We have a role to play. We have a role to
Okay.
play. I mean, currently in Montego Bay, we get a lot of the water from the Great River, and the method by which they are cleansing the water is an archaic method. There's a new formula called polyaluminum chloride, and your listeners can go and research it. This allows these reservoirs that we get the river waters to store in to produce 30% above capacity. So the same amount of water going in now, it may improve it by 30%. And that's just one solution, right? There are many other solutions. Hydroelectric energy is going to
Yes.
become important for the future. Solar energy, also through technology, we are looking at cheap, innovative ways to bring solar to Jamaica. We're looking at ways where we can get solar to the marginalized people. There are some solar tapes that are now being created in China. What I mean by tapes is that
You
instead of
just tape
creating
it
the
up.
glass, this big glass thing that's heavy, and you just buy a roll of tape and roll it out on your ceiling,
Wow.
and that collects the solar energy and feeds that to your system. So, and these are cheaper alternatives to what exists. So we're exploring with these alternatives to see how best now we can provide reasonable policies that can give Jamaica the opportunity to benefit from them. Innovation is very, very, very wide. As
You
you
just
know,
was talking about
you
innovation a
creating
while
this
ago.
show on TikTok is an innovation,
Yep.
right? Us having this conversation on TikTok is an innovation. So we had to separate, because technology is innovation, but innovation is a little bit broader than just science and
Right.
technology. So it's like your vegetables, carrot is a vegetable, but vegetables are also cabbage, also
Yeah.
callaloo, and so on
Yes.
and so forth. So the innovation aspect of it is very broad. And what we are saying is that, and this is, I've been calling for this from ever since I was in Parliament, for us to have an innovation fund, a technology, just as though we have Jamaica tourism fund, tourism enhancement fund. We want to have an innovation fund where people now can have access to capital to enhance whatever innovation we believe can assist the country to move forward. So that is what we want to do. That is very important. Another important aspect of what we're trying to do is to see how we can measure technology as an industry in our GDP. In the 1950, technology represents 0% of China's GDP.
Right.
Today, technology represents 38% of China's GDP. Tourism is the biggest percentage in Jamaica, about
Afterwards, yeah.
35% when you include all the backward and forward linkages. We live in a technological era. We don't live in a tourism era. Tourism just exists everywhere. So even
Yeah.
if you want to provide tourism, there are technological advancements that allow you to provide tourism at a cheaper cost to people coming in, at a more comfortable way, where
Yeah.
people have no access at their fingertips, a lot of technologically advanced instruments that can make their stay here in Jamaica even better off. So a lot of these things, we are looking at a host of examples, what they're doing in Costa Rica, what they're doing in Singapore, what they're doing in Bahrain and these countries to improve the value of technology and also the measure of technology towards the overall GDP. Now, I want to speak about something.
Go ahead.
Currently in Jamaica, our unemployment rate is about 4%.
So them
In
say,
economics,
yeah.
yeah, that's what they say. In economics, this means that you have exhausted all your labor capacity, right? Now, goods are produced in two ways: through what is called your intensive margin, when you add more resources to the productive process, you employ more people,
Right.
right? And you buy more machinery. Or through what is called your extensive margin, where you make the additional people more productive. And because we have exhausted our intensive margin, we now have to look at how we explore the extensive margin, which is the productivity of our people. I have a book, my latest book on overcoming productivity challenges in small countries, speaks to a lot of these issues. But
You need to
fundamentally,
put up the book so we can see it, man.
oh, I don't have it with me. I can go and check it out on Amazon. It's
Okay.
overcoming productive. I'm away now. I'm not in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Overcoming productivity challenges in small countries. It's a blue and white book. They'll see it.
All
Next
right.
time, because I'll come on your show again,
I
Kamla,
am
to
going to
speak
use
about
because we do a lot of
I'm
studying.
talking about cyber issues. I'll come back to discuss the book and to
Definitely.
discuss a industry approach towards overcoming productivity challenges. So the extensive margin is now our hope. If you have a government, and I told them before, and I'll continue to tell them, if you have a government that is focusing on job creation, they can create so many menial jobs to absorb all their people, and GDP will not grow.
That's
Let me
it.
repeat, if you have a
GDP
government
can
that
go.
is focusing on job creation, they can create as many jobs as possible, but GDP will not grow. And there are a lot of companies in Jamaica who hire more people, and the more people they hire, they still produce the same amount. So they have negative intensive margins.
The quality of the employees.
Negative intensive margins. You notice in America and these places, you have to pump your own gas.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody pumping
Oh,
gas
no,
because the
exactly.
value of that job to them is not worth it for them to hire someone to pump your gas. In America and these countries, you know that you have to pack your own bags.
Yep.
You also have to cash your own food. You have to
Yeah.
pass it by the machine, poop, poop,
You,
poop,
you,
poop,
you
poop,
cash your own
and you
food,
see the
yeah?
total and the thing. You swipe
Walmart,
your card and you
self.
go. Because the
Yep.
value of these jobs doesn't make sense for you to hire people to do them. They have people doing more productive jobs that can
Exactly.
contribute. And this is the way we have to think as a country. This is the way we have to think as leaders. And many people in Jamaica, because they are caught up in the rhetoric, because they are caught up in, you know, him can't make a difference, or she can't make a difference, or this is just the government, or, you know, they don't understand that countries change through the leadership that is afforded to them. Countries improve and evolve because they have leaders who make the sacrifice throughout the course of history to put them on a proper developmental path through positive examples. And because we have so many negative examples from leaders over the years,
Over the
we tend to
years.
forget that leadership should be a positive, uplifting thing. And these bunch of followers that we call Jamaicans who wake up every day and follow the rhetoric and, oh, talk him a talk, man. Oh, whatever the case may be. Oh, you know, see him no own a business. Oh, you know, see him no make no 10 billion pound off a no Fortune 500 company. Him no have no experience in this and
No,
experience in
you
that.
lucky says that them saying to you, make $10 billion off of social media, you mean?
You see, in every country, there are three groups of people, three economic agents. There is the business who uses capital in a productive way. There is the household who provides labor to the business. And there is the government that is there to bridge the gap between the household and the business so that the business does not exploit the household, as well as the household does not take the business for granted. So the
Okay.
government is a different entity from a businessman. So these ill-thinking Jamaicans will wake up and say, oh, he never own a business yet, so he can't be a government. Government and business are two different
Two
things.
different things.
Is no, when you have these corrupt people in government, it makes you now try to second guess the value of the government because they
Because
serve
they are
no
trying to
real
be the
purpose.
government and the business. This
Exactly.
government we have trying to be both the government and the business.
Yes, they serve no real
So they
purpose.
are basically exploiting the household.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So I don't know, but we are continuing to push the modern philosophy of thought. We're continuing to push the fact that young people now know what they want. Young people understand what is prudent, astute, positive leadership. And young people are putting themselves on the line to make sure that they provide this for generations to come. So all these old people who think that they're going into politics to thief money and they're going into politics to enrich themselves, where are they taking the money? The richest man in the world dead and him have to bury
And
with
leave
Gucci.
it. Exactly.
So what is the value of having these corrupt leaders? What is the value of supporting these leaders? They get a 5,000, you get a 10,000. What does it say for the quality of life that your child is living? What does it say for the opportunities that your child gets from the nation that they are born to? And that's a fundamental question that we have to ask ourselves.
But you see, Dr. Haughton, a lot of the questions that you pose to people, they are not educated enough to give you a good answer or think about it because they live really and truly in a lot of them live day to day, it's day to day existence. So they're not thinking that far ahead as to what kind of Jamaica their children will live to see. Just you
Exactly.
see, yeah, the thing with somebody like you as well as somebody like Damian Crawford, you are forward thinking, but we have a generation of people in the here and now that they're only concerned with today and tomorrow about them. Them don't even care about them children. So how do we
Yeah.
combat that?
You see, chapter 2 of my book looks at what impacts our labor and total factor productivity most profoundly. And the two most important variables are human capital development, which is the level of education
Human
of the
capital.
population, and corruption. Those are the two significant variables. Across the length and breadth of Jamaica, over 60% of the people have no qualifications. Over 60% have
Seventy
no
percent.
skills. Over
Dr.
60%.
Rosalie Hamilton just do our something our research and she well both are you in the same field. She says 70, you say 60.
Yeah,
No
60 to 65. I
qualification.
mean,
Yeah.
my book was published in 2023
Well, that's
and we
recent
used data
data.
up to 2022. So since COVID, it might have increased because COVID has contributed to
A lot,
a
yeah.
lot of abstinence from schools. So
Yeah.
what does this mean? And it's not just about having skill and having education, right? We're talking about tertiary level skills and education. In
Yeah.
Jamaica, it's just 17% of the population have tertiary level education.
Education.
83% have no tertiary level education. We know schoolwork cannot eat, but
That is
as a
it.
young person growing up underprivileged, academics is the most fundamental way for you to escape poverty. academics,
That is
information,
what
and
Manley
mental well.
preached
So
in the
everybody hear them
70s.
now. Hear them now. Mark Zuckerberg drop out of school. Him not have no degree. Mark Zuckerberg drop out of Harvard. Harvard a
Harvard.
big school. Him could have easily get a
Exactly.
degree. Him have the ability to get the degree. Him just switch. It's like him go do a personal experience degree in a business, which is
They don't think
basically a
of it
degree.
that way.
Hear them. Bill Gates and them drop out of school. Them have resources. If you take the percentage of people who drop out of school and rich versus the percentage of people who go to school and live comfortable, are way more.
Exactly.
So we now, as well-thinking Jamaicans, have to begin to value education in such a way where we realize that it is not just about ourselves, but education comes with what we call positive externalities. You think better, you make better decisions, you're less thief and corrupt, because it's like you have a bigger moral compass. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these are things that we have to begin to think about as leaders, and these are things that we have to begin to understand how we lead a nation of such remarkable people, Kamala.
Wow. This is a lot. I know talking to you is going to be like a mind blowing experience because people don't understand. I tell them all the time that you're an extremely bright person. I'm going to post, I found your book actually. I'm going to post it up. Well, you can't see like that, but I'm going to post it up for the viewers soon so
Yeah,
that.
man, it has 10 telling chapters. Chapter 1 dichotomizes our own situation, look at the Jamaican economy where it is, where we have been, and where we definitely want to go. Chapter 2 looks at the overarching macroeconomic productivity issues. Chapter 3 looks at the goods industry. We look at agriculture, we look at construction, we look at mining, and so on. We look at these goods industries. We have 4 of them, right? And we look at how labor is employed in these industries. And what we've realized is that outside of agriculture, all these industries are hiring more people than what they need to produce their optimum. So all these people need to filter out of these industries into technology and innovation industries
That is
in
it.
order for them to contribute towards the productivity of these firms that employ them.
But
Chapter 4 looks at the service industry, and we break it down, right? We look at the different finance and health, all these service industries to see how they employ labor. And all these service industries are hiring more labor than they need to produce their optimum. So they have excess amount of labor. Even the government, what my research shows is that the government can shed 30% of their labor.
they
And
know that.
still,
Them know that. You think it's something they don't know? They know.
the government can shed
You're
30%
not
of
telling
their
them a
labor
thing them don't know. But why would they?
and still produce at their optimum. So these are things that we have to begin to think about, and we have it in us to be able to move ourselves forward. We have it in us to understand what it takes to present to Jamaicans, to present to the world a country that is serious about the potential of its people, a country that is serious about what it has to offer to the rest of the world. And I think we have to take this very seriously.
I have a question for you. I have a
Yes.
question for you as an economist. You know, Jamaicans love to compare our economy with that of Singapore. What are
Yes.
your thoughts on this? It's like every time you hear these people them talk about where Singapore was and how we never reached there. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you see, the 1950s, we were just coming out of World War II. And at that time, Jamaica was one of the most advanced countries in the world. Right downtown Kingston, we had trams like
Right?
they do in New York and London and Canada. Jamaica was one of the first countries. As a matter of fact, Kingston had electricity before New York,
Yes.
right? So on that foundation, we were poised as a nation to be on such a rapid growth trajectory where 20, 30 years in the future, 40, 50 years in the future, 60, 70 years in the future, the hopes that our grandparents had have been shot on.
Uh-huh.
The hopes that our foreparents had have been neglected and disrespected. Now,
That's right.
I'm currently writing a chapter for a book that Routledge has on Caribbean and Latin America. I'm writing a chapter on the political history of Jamaica, the political economy of Jamaica.
I would love to have a deeper conversation with you
When
about this, you know.
when we embarked on our economic mission, we were seen as not just leaders of the developing world, we were seen as global leaders.
That's right.
And the conference of leaders of the Commonwealth, when I talk about the Commonwealth, the conference of the leaders of the Commonwealth that took place in 1963, 1964 in Jamaica, that was attended by all the world leaders, and it took place in Jamaica, not Geneva.
What year was this? 1963?
63 or 64. I'm not going to quote the exact date now, since I'm away, I'm doing enough things. I want to tell you. It was attended by Lee Kuan Yew,
Who was at the time?
observed our trajectory and our economic plan that was devised by Sir Arthur Lewis. And he went back to Singapore and implemented with perfection. While here in Jamaica, in the 60s, was our most productive time, because at the time, tourism was booming, bauxite was booming, manufacturing was booming, and we were now on a growth trajectory.
Right.
Fast forward to the 1970s, we were hit by oil price shocks, right? And these oil price shocks tremendously destroyed our foreign currency purchasing power. That was the first time, because the Jamaican dollar at the time was valued more than the US, right? It was 90 cents Jamaican to purchase a US, right? So after the shock occurred, oil price escalated. So our import basket also escalated. And the demand for our bauxite and our tourism product, because global prices increased, less tourists coming, less demand for the bauxite and so on, the income that we were getting reduced. So that was when our upward productivity trajectory was dismantled. So it's not as if we don't have the potential, but because we have been import dependent, we as a small island developing state, we are susceptible to external shocks. So these external shocks destroyed our economy from the 70s. And even today in 2024, we have not recovered because of concurrent events. That one, our leaders did not figure out how to get us to be less import dependent. We have not embarked on an energy generating process. Petrojam is the most underproductive, worst oil refinery in the world.
But I see this government as trying to go back to heavy imports more than anything. They seem to be going in the opposite direction of what you are describing. We seem to be.
I mean, over the years, imports, to be honest, as a percentage of exports has been falling. 4 years ago, imports was like 5 times exports. Now it's like 3.5 times. It's not their fault or their doing. It's just the ability to spend by the Jamaicans, right? It's because the foreign exchange has been going up so much. When you could buy a 100 US for $100, now you have to buy 100 US for $160. So the value of what we produce or the value of what we can, because it's not as if we're importing less, It's just that now we are watching what we're importing because we have less money. So we have less money to spend because the value of the dollar is so bad. Because most of what we import are essential items. And we have to salt. When I keep my classes, Kamla, I do some simple exercise. I say, look at the clothes you're wearing. Who in the class is wearing something from Jamaica?
Nobody.
One girl stand up, she wear a rough work slippers. A next girl I wear
Yeah.
a Bridget slippers. We have a
Yeah.
class of 400 students. Two of them have on two domestic them laid slippers. The rest of them have on Crooks, Nike, Clarks, Wallaby, Kickers,
Puma. Exactly.
Puma, etc., etc. We say, all right, your clothes. So out of all the clothes you're wearing, if you want to have on something made in Jamaica, look at your appliances at home. What's made in Jamaica? Your stove, your fridge, your laptop,
None of them.
the most is made in Jamaica, some of them better than dresser. And because
Yeah.
them can't afford the imported one up a coats or Kemlan, as soon as them can
For the
afford it,
street side. Yep.
the tufted, what we call
Yep.
it, Catherine, Royal, you know, the
For a
Indian lady
people. Yeah,
pan the
man.
thing
We
will come
know where you're
advertise.
at.
A sample Indian woman, them man. We advertise our thing, them man. Can't
Kemlani. The Kemlani people.
Kemlan
Them.
take them as an example. As soon as them can afford it, I eat them gone buy. So me talk about now in your food, your fridge. The cheese, the this, the that. Them not have no taste the cheese like that and then think they're gonna be a cheddar, you know.
Exactly.
You understand what I mean? So majority of what we wear, majority of what we use, majority of what we consume, when you look at it objectively, it is not from Jamaica. No, not to say that a country needs to produce all that it needs. A country will never be able to produce all that it needs.
Everything. Exactly.
Alas, but that country must be able to produce something that it barters for money to use to be able to buy what it needs. What do we produce to barter? We want to sell tomatoes and buy Audi. You following? So the value for value in the barter system. Because remember, money is just a medium of exchange, you know.
Amen.
Money is a medium of exchange. When you think about value for value, you have to think about what is the value of your goods you are producing versus the value of goods that you want to purchase, to consume. And that's fundamental.
Wow.
Migration.
Uh-huh.
Migration is very bad in Jamaica. If I had 1,000 farm tickets a month, they'll all be gone. Because
True.
people want to leave to go abroad to farm. And Jamaica have farming. Jamaica have farming.
Whole heap of farm too.
They would have never think about farming out here. I
But
just
the thing
talking
is,
to one of my
there
brethren
is
a while
no
ago.
money in farming here. There is no money in farming here, especially when you find that the government wants to import fresh produce.
Yeah, we calculate the value of each industry. And the average person in Jamaica who works in agriculture works $300,000 per year. 300,000 Jamaican for the year. The average person, I said, Jesus Christ, 300,000 Jamaican. When you break it down, I think me get must about 10,000 a week. Some of this are less.
That's crazy.
A week, less than minimum wage. So
who would want to
we're not
stay?
calculating properly. The government now calculate. We're not calculating, because if we were calculating, we would realize that we have a lot more work to do. We would realize that we have a lot more avenues to target. And that's fundamental.
But how do you think the agricultural sector could end up being more viable? I mean,
No,
what?
mommy, the whole world has changed. Jamaica agriculture suffer from two things. You want me to tell you them?
Yeah.
Bet you never get the two things where Jamaica agriculture suffer from.
No, you tell me.
Flood and drought.
You hit the nail on the head there, and what can we do about that, really?
Mommy, we have to store up the water from the flood to resurface it back when a drought time. You understand what I mean? And every year, same thing happen. And we are buying water tank. Instead of finding innovative ways, we need to build 4 critical dams across the whole country. Critical dam across the whole country. We are buying water tank. And go down to Israel and have no water, go ask them how to save water out of here, or for reverse osmosis water.
Reverse osmosis.
Land wood and water and rainfall, the whole of Mother Road, Rashra and Marcus Garvey Drive.
Everywhere. We've been talking about
water
this.
They can use and channel go all about, go water people, crops and plants. So you see, the problem that we find ourselves in is we lack the ability to think and to evolve.
Amen.
I don't know if I salt in our food or what. I don't know. But we severely lack the ability to think and
We
execute.
lack the ability to think because we're not engaging the children young enough to. We're not engaging them in the thing. Keep
No,
thinking.
enough people in Jamaica in a bright competition, you know. Young
Them
man,
bright,
you
but
see,
them
look
not
for him and go
smart.
on like him
Bright
bright,
and
you know, have
smart
no
is two
sense.
different things, you know. Critical thinking. Because you're bright, your book bright don't mean you have the ability to think critically, you know, and that's what a lot of people don't
Exactly.
understand.
So, a person
Critical
will
thinking.
come and them kill you with big words.
That is it.
Words even with them themselves no understand. And them lack the ability to understand something well enough to break it down to a 3-year-old child
Exactly.
for them. And
Exactly.
that is knowledge.
Exactly.
That is knowledge. Knowledge is not you coming up here and being
Reciting the
fake to
book
be
knowledge.
flamboyant and trying to prove that I am this person. Knowledge is the
Exactly.
ability to analyze a scenario and be able to present it to a
Present
broad
it in your
cross
own
section of
words.
people in order for them to understand it. It's not just
So
about your own understanding, but how you enable others to understand as well. That's fundamental.
huh, you hit the nail on the head. There's nothing else for me to say or add. Me know say you have another engagement. Me see you still dress up. So I don't know if you have any more time.
Yeah, man.
Um,
I mean, we have to understand that we have the ability to do what we can because Jamaicans are not just good at sports and music. Jamaicans are good at everything. And we just need the ability, we need the right leadership in order to display this capacity of personality and ability. And gradually over time, when we realize who cares and who does not, when we realize what is important and we begin to stop thinking selfishly about our own accomplishments, about the house we want to build, about
that's
the
it.
cars we want to drive, about how
Individualism.
much money we need to pay off the system to be favorable to us. And we begin to think about the moral fabric of the country. We begin to think about how the country can advance itself in a modern way. Then I think that at that point it will be an epiphany where the entire Jamaica now will get a rude awakening and we will begin to, it will become like Moses and the burning bush.
You see, it's so ironic that you're saying all these things because yesterday we were talking about the power of the collective and people power, you know, because right now we in a society where, and it's not just Jamaica, the whole world, it's about the individual. Everybody is very individualist. And so, I mean, the whole of this is neoliberalism that introduced this whole concept of me, what's in it for me, you know? So to go back to where you are talking about, well, we see it happening now, you know, Dr. Han. We're seeing some societies now, including in the USA, where people realize that collective responsibility is what moves societies forward. So, how do
Every
we
great
get
leader
Jamaica
knows
back
that.
there?
We need leaders who appreciate the value of our people. And that is fundamental. And until we have leaders who value our people, that's why we're still stuck at Michael Manley as our most profound leader, because we haven't given other leaders a chance who value us. What we do is take the money from the capitalists and give them our vote. And we
We value
continue
things
to
like
suffer
clocks.
because of that. And politics, like economics, like everything goes in cycles. There are boom cycles and bust cycles. And I think that Jamaica is coming out of this deprived bust cycles that the labor rights have had us in over the last 8 years. And I think that a brighter day is on its way to dawn. And I think that we know, because our backs are against the wall, as Marcus Garvey quite rightly said,
Somebody just
then we
mentioned.
have to now begin to think more critically and more creatively and more generously and more honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity. These are not just words, these are real activities
Word,
that we have
sound,
to
and power.
participate in.
You're quite right. I don't know what else to add to that. I see some of these people want to ask you questions. Do you have any more time to take a few
Yeah,
questions?
man, they can go ahead, man. Let's hear what they
All
have to
right,
say. We have to engage with
comrades, let's go. Come in quickly. We do. Comrade Haughton has an engagement, so come quickly. Come ask your questions. The box open now. Waiting on the request. All right, we have the first person. That is Comrade Howard. All right, he's coming up now. Somebody asking you about the budget. How you feel about the budget before Comrade Howard
Jamaica's
starts?
budget has been so redundant. It's the same thing every year. There's nothing novel about the budget. The budget is just like we're going to go to the supermarket and we're going to buy rice, flour, milk, and sugar. We're going to clean the windows on the house, so we have to buy Windex, and we're going to vacuum the floor, so we need a vacuum. There's nothing being added to the house, right? There's nothing being developed. We're not looking at how we are innovating. We're not buying any computers. We're not paying for anybody to really learn what is happening in the computer and to disseminate the information. We're not building out the country's ability to earn wealth. And I think that the government's ability to create wealth has been marginalized by their approach to create jobs. So they have turned all of us into what we call the working poor.
The
And
working.
a nation of
We
such
speak
remarkable
on this every night. The
cannot
working
be
poor.
considered as the working poor. We have to now be considered as a group of people who want to generate wealth and to put ourselves at the forefront of global development. We can be examples too. We don't have to follow all the time. We can lead Switzerland. We can lead Sweden. We led England for so many years. So I think that we need a different approach to budgeting. I think that the Minister of Finance has been mismanaging the budget by overstating our revenues and understating the expenditures. I think that we need to begin to rid ourselves of corruption. When you look at the Essex Valley project that has been going on for so many years and water problems still can't be fixed in Jamaica. When you look at Cornwall Regional Hospital that was budgeted $2 billion in the initial stanza and now it's 21 billion. So we have over 19 billion of overspending. Someone says to me, well, the scope of work changed. I say, if you plan to build a house, the 2 million, and somebody say, then go add on 2 more room and it costs you 4 million, you double up the value of the house, right? You are telling me, say, your budget overstated by 1,000%?
1,000%.
That makes sense? That means you never calculate the thing right in the first place. That means you're
Or
deficient.
that contractor take you for your idiot.
You're deficient. You think you can go over by 100%. You think you can go over by 200%. Okay, no problem. Okay, 200% is a big number, but all right. 300% is a big number, but all right. 500%. Okay. We have built 5 hospital. 500. 1,000%.
1,000%. All right, Comrade Howard, go
Yes.
ahead with your question.
Night, Dr. Hart. Night,
Hey,
Camilla.
Lord, how things?
Night.
Why may I tell you things that look good enough? Because this government here, what we glad find, comrade, is we won't TikTok, you know, and we break it down for ordinary comrades. Gone are the days when time they come and they talk the fancy word in the budget. For I was one of the first person who take the entire budget and see where clearly this man just give a open speech without financing in terms of how the budget of a finance. And when him said, especially the one that they were running with, every single youth can be able to go to Heart and get 13,000 per week plus 15,000, so a total of 67,000. And they were talking and talking 120,000. And when I check it up, it would have cost 8.4 billion, right? And he did not identify that funding. And when we ask him and tell him, say, how many youths? Then when they narrow it down to 30 per constituency. And until this day, not a single word we hear about the project, right? And when we talk about, in terms of corruption, water price, we don't really have a water problem in our comrades. For if we look at Sandy Gully and Riverton, right? That is the source of the water. All you have to do is remove the landfill and create a mega dam that can last for the next 200 to 300 years. And we have to think big.
And that is it. Jamaicans only think that in Kingston is Jamaica, you know, man.
No.
Yo, we want to be
Right?
farming
And the
land
next
them
thing again,
to
what we
St.
are,
Elizabeth and
That is
Westmoreland and
right.
place the who and water and dam
that
and
is
them
right,
things.
Comrade Haughton. So when the PMP put all of these things, they don't look at it. And from that same hydro jam that we done created from that dam, we can generate electricity. All we need to do is pump the water into one section and keep it and recycle it, and then you get both electricity and you solve the water problem.
Me
And
have
the next
one
thing we're
me
looking
have me
about,
have one statement. Hoover Dam. The
Hoover.
Center for Research,
definitely,
Hoover Dam.
may agree. And our Hoover Dam is the same Riverton landfill. Remove the dump
As I
and
said
create the
before,
Hoover Dam
Kingston
right there,
already
You
so.
have
have so much
two dams.
different places you can put that, even
We
more in
need a dam
Central.
to supply
Right.
the western side of the island, the south side of the island, and the
Right.
north side
And
of the
then now,
island.
when you capture the water from the sandy gully and treat it, you control our environment by having those tons and millions of gallons of water go to waste. And the next thing again, that before Comrade Richards can come in, Dr. Haughton, is are we looking seriously at the BPO and look at the impact of artificial intelligence, right? We don't learn nothing from sugar. We don't learn nothing from backside. We don't learn nothing from where the highway has destroyed the Melrose bypass and those small in community, porous and all of those places where you have a vibrant economy and you use the highway and you kill those villages, right? Sooner or later, there won't be any car center.
Profound. We tend to be reactive with policy rather than proactive. In our innovation
Comrade
track,
Howard.
we have those issues being dealt with and addressed. And if and when we come into government, it's going to be a totally different ball game where these issues are concerned. Thanks again for the comments. They're really on point,
Comrade Howard.
and we all have to continue to work together to create the change that we want to see.
Definitely. Comrade Q, your turn.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon, good evening, comrade.
Good evening, you. How thing?
Well, I'm blessed up in that. Here, more, me have two questions, more, three questions more. Ask you, like you answer them for me, please.
Mm-hmm.
First one: how would a well-regulated, well-supported ganja industry benefit the economy of Jamaica? The first one.
You want me to answer them one at a time, or you want to try them one time? Me answer them one at
More
a
ask you one at a time. Please.
Research shows
Yeah.
that if Jamaica was to use this ganja industry most profoundly, then we can generate per annum 11.1 billion US dollars from the primary product alone, which is 75% of our GDP. So if Jamaica really wants to grow, then Jamaica has no choice but to properly engage the ganja industry. As a matter of fact, I'm coming to politics because of ganja. And I can say that
Talking things.
I mash man, I mash up industry 2018, 2019, and I decide say, say somebody have to sacrifice themselves and going out for really make the changes that we really need to see. So you're on point. You're on point. And you understand fundamentally what is value. The ganja industry, ganja is the only product that you can get it from $5,000 a pound to $500,000 a pound. There's no other product in Jamaica that you can get for $5,000 a pound, let alone $500,000 a pound. So it has significant value. Why plant tomato? That value $150 a pound. And it takes the same 3 months to grow, same amount of care, same amount of time, same amount of effort, same amount of nutrients. We're talking about value, and we have to
Yeah.
value ourselves and value our output.
Thanks. Next one now. There's a question more ask. The fact that the government said they have 7 years of no new tax. Because the first year their government, they have to put in $33 billion to offset the 1.5. Is it the fact that because the PMP had do the heavy lifting and set the trajectory for the tax? Because if the PMP was in power, it would be the same 7 year or 8 without no new tax, ain't it?
Yeah, man, it would be the similar thing because from 2013 to 2015, a lot of the foundation was laid through what is called the fiscal rules. So the
Yeah.
fiscal rules basically stipulate how the government can spend and what they can spend on, and they can't spend excessively like they used to back in the day. So those fiscal
So,
rules were laid out to govern how we spend and how we receive funds and the primary surplus that we use to pay the debt. So all that was already in place. So that's nothing for them
there's
to
no miracle of
really
Niger
brag
Clark. So
about.
it's not no miracle of Niger Clark then.
Yeah, man, it better they brag that because they are becoming more efficient, they're using the same tax percentages and getting more tax. Better they are using that to brag.
Exactly. Once they are all right. This one I want to say now. I hear some libertarians say Mr. Siaga bringing the art. But is it the fact that Mr. Siaga bringing art? Yes, but it was the PMP government who bring art to where it is today. Meaning this is art center at training
I
college.
think that
Is it
I
that a
think that
fact?
Jamaica has been blessed with leaders who, to some extent, some of them try to present themselves in a developmental way, but because of many local as well as international shocks negatively and handicaps and the lack of understanding of a collective of people and their potential by majority of our leaders. Remember, we come under a lot of global sabotage too. It's
Amen. I was
important.
waiting for you to bring that up because, especially when I asked you about Singapore versus Jamaica, I wanted you to bring up that part. We did come
Yeah,
under
man.
a lot of
Yeah,
sabotage.
man, and that's why I disguised it under the whole auspices of the price shocks, the oil price shocks, because those
Okay.
were the most fundamental economic shocks, right? I didn't talk about the collapse of our agricultural industry to sabotage. I didn't talk about the collapse of the bauxite industry to sabotage. I didn't talk about the collapse of the manufacturing free zone industry through
Amen.
sabotage.
Sabotage.
And
All
we
right.
have to
I'll
see
rest my
where we
case,
are
Comrade Arden.
today.
So I will just left to somebody else. All right.
All
Thanks
right.
for the
Thanks, you.
Blessings,
All
you.
right.
Blessings.
Jordan Williams, your turn.
Yes, Comrade Kamel, and good night, everybody on the panel.
Good night.
Comrade, now I want to ask you about the level of poverty in Jamaica. We seem to can't get any statistic from the PIOG on that, or the Statistical Institute has been politicized in terms of the census. So I want to get an understanding. What is your estimation on the
Oh, you know, I
level of
don't
poverty in
estimate it, to be
Jamaica?
honest with you. It take too much money, man. I have to spend half the money I give people for go buy food. I can't ask them no question. I just give them.
Oh God.
You
But,
get me? Because I don't really like one, make them feel a way like me a quiz out their life.
yes, you
Once you find
understand.
out say they're hungry or whatever, I just give them money for buy food, man. I can't really go across the whole of length and breadth of Jamaica. See, I starting try the other day and nobody no want answer no question. Nobody no really
Hey.
want disclose them information because some people kind of feel a way to if I tell about how bad their life is. So it's like we can see it on a day-to-day basis. You understand what I mean? We can see say genuinely enough people now have it, and that's why most people want to leave to go to America because they think it's a better road. And American people, I just have a conversation with one of my good friend. Man saying, "Come to Jamaica, Jamaica so nice." He feel like he would have run off. And the man say, "Man, run off back way." Man say, instead of run off America.
Give him a month.
You
Give him
understand what I
1 month.
mean? So the whole idea is that we don't have to calculate the specific poverty numbers to realize that Jamaica need a holistic change in our approach towards national development.
Yes.
And it is these government ministries, departments, and agencies' responsibility to stop playing with the numbers and using the numbers for politics and to be
That's
real with
right.
the international organizations about exactly what is taking place. A single individual like Dr. Haughton will not be able to go across the length of Greater Jamaica and calculate the value of poverty for the government can debate or debate not.
Our next question to you, Comrade Arton. The Jamaican government has been praising and singing that they're carrying the debt to GDP rate going down, going down. But when we look at the developed world, we're seeing that the debt to GDP levels are going up, but they're growing by large percentages. So why is Jamaica seem to be paying more on the debt, but not growing the economy, penetrating and paying down the debt instead of growing the economy?
Good question.
The commercial banks in Jamaica are more willing to lend you money to buy a vehicle than they are to lend you money to buy investment instruments like machinery and so on to grow. So debt is accumulated on the premise of consumption rather than on the premise of development and productive advancement. And economics is very simple. Once you understand it, right, you live it. And that is why some people think they have a PhD in economics because they live it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But it's true understanding of the processes and the relay mechanism of funds. And that was just it on a micro level. When you take it on a national level now, right? You have a country like Japan who is well advanced and their debt to GDP ratio is 200%.
That's right.
You understand? It's because of the fact that a lot of these leaders in this developed world have been so corrupt. They borrow and steal rather than borrow and invest. And this is why the international organizations believe that uno can't manage high debt, man. Because uno borrow for full in a pocket,
Full
uno
on pocket.
borrow for develop. And that is why some countries have to borrow less. Because if you have a man, I borrow for eat, I
Yes.
borrow for buy champagne, I borrow for go a hotel, I borrow for do this. Him no for borrow, man.
Yes.
Quite right.
But
Makes
Dr.
sense.
Haughton, shouldn't we be penetrating on growth more than paying down the debt? Shouldn't that be the full focus of the government, growing the economy more than penetrating, paying down the debt overall?
You see, things that are not inside your capacity, they are not inside your ability.
True.
So it makes it difficult for you to focus on something that you're incapable of doing. And this government is incapable of growing the country. They wanted to grow the country 5% in 4 years,
Yes.
5
and
and
we're
4.
still growing at 1% in 8 years.
Well, you see, they counted the recovery, they counted the economic recovery as growth, remember that.
That can't count, man. That just bounce back, man.
I know, the recovery.
Sense, man.
All
That
right,
just
Jack,
bounce back.
you're up. This Jack?
Yeah, good night, comrade. Good night.
Yeah, man. Good night,
Good
Jack.
night.
Yes, Mr. Haughton.
Yeah, man. I'm
Go
here.
ahead, Jack.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with the ganja thing there, see?
Yes.
How fruitful it is for Jamaica to be successful. Because remember before me left Jamaica, come in America now. I was down in Jamaica this morning. Me come. Me know this from longer time. This MP in a St. Thomas, where he name, the bald one, me no want to call him name.
Yes.
Have a ganja farm in a St. Thomas,
Okay.
In a Landoway region down in one part the way Clearly more did have control one piece of it. And them have one ganja farm and them alone and make the money. The man the one from Portland. I see them all the time round a St. Thomas. And that's why
The first thing I guess would be the decriminalizing ganja in terms of at a large scale, because every
We have already
every
done
day.
that. Remember, we are the only party who take this industry serious.
Exactly.
That's why I'm very happy that Mark Golden is our leader, because he too understands the value of this. And we've been doing a lot of work since 2011. We've done a lot of work to bring the industry where it is. And Jamaican people were so ungrateful that they voted us out. And then this is what we get. So, you spread a bit of the lay night hard, as my mother said, man.
I think they don't understand the value of what Mark Golding and the PNP has done in terms of. I don't think they understand.
them not
Them labor right.
from Manly days, Manly a teach we and a tell we say plant, eat.
Eat what you grow what you eat.
All right. And then I take it, them say a communist Manly I bring in.
That's right.
And
there's no country that can produce all it needs.
Jack, you so Dr. Han can answer you.
So we have to pick some products that we can produce at high value. When Jamaica was wealthy, you know what created wealth in Jamaica? When we were the pearl of the Antilles,
Same
we got
ganja.
wealth from three products:
Sugar
sugarcane,
cane.
tobacco, and cotton.
Uh-huh.
Three products: sugarcane, tobacco, and cotton. Three products. Now we want to make 1,000,000 products. We feel so if we make everything. We cannot make everything. We make what we can make at high value, sell it, get the money, and buy what we want. And that is how we need to view economics as economics. Because that is what economics is: resource allocation. How you use the resources to the best of their ability. Not how you try to create a facade and present yourself as if you are trying to do everything.
Yeah. Any more questions, Jack?
More about the cash industry. That again where the Prime Minister sell out to my bank and to
I don't
me.
know if you're watching my status, Kamla, and my broadcast when I shared last week
Yes.
the top 15 top coffee producers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica is not one of them.
No, we're not. Definitely not. We fall out of that long, long time.
And we have the best coffee.
Yeah, well, that's a niche market. Blue Mountain coffee is a niche that is very expensive, and not the regular coffee drinkers can't afford it. So our coffee mostly go to Japan, you understand, and a few other places, but it's considered a niche product that a high end product that most people can't afford. It's a luxury item. Am I
Coffee
right,
like
Dr. Haughton?
coffee like many other industries in Jamaica has been politicized. And until we have the right leadership to fix many of these industries, then it's just gonna be talk shop, talk shop, talk shop.
Exactly.
We need the right leadership, leaders who care about distribution of wealth across this great nation.
Exactly. I'm glad you bring up the distribution of wealth because what they're doing is leaving out the coffee farmers out of the equation. So there's no incentive to produce the coffee, because the coffee farmers are not earning much from it.
No, because I have like nearly 7 acres of coffee in Jamaica right now.
Uh-huh.
Yes, how much do you get paid per box? The same as the
There you
people from
go.
Costa Rica? Or do you get paid a connoisseur price?
Well, I don't even know if a connoisseur or a canna well or what it is, no bossy, but the farmers not getting nothing for the coffee in St. Thomas or St. Andrew. You know the coffee area in Jamaica?
The coffee belt, yeah.
It's
St.
$8,000.
Andrew, Portland, and St. Thomas.
Yeah, I think it's $8,000. I have to pay a person $2,000 to pick a box. So you know how much you get as a farmer.
And how long it take for grow?
Alright. For planting it to the stage beer, it take like 18 to 20 months.
So you
Wow.
have to plant you over every minute or a beer back to
Yeah,
back.
no. All right. When you plant it one time, the tree, as long as you keep it clean and take care of it,
So
it's there.
how often the tree beer? That one, how often?
Yeah, one time a year.
Oh, one time a year. So you make
Yeah.
$6,000 per box one time a year. How much tree take to make a box?
Well, depends on how it beer. Cause like 2, 3 can give a box or more.
Hmm? How much tree it take to make a box?
It's two to three trees.
3. It depends on the amount of beer you get.
Okay.
If you take care of the coffee, a tree can give you a box, When they reach the prime of bearing, it can one tree can give you a box.
Mm.
But no, the farmer
How
get
much tree you can have per acre?
900.
900 tree per acre.
Yeah,
That means you can get,
more
if
than
you
that.
only 2 tree per box, you get 450 bucks per acre.
Yeah, call it that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's there. You can make a living off of it, but it's not there right now. Before Andrew Owl is coming up, coffee was like 15,000 per box.
I remember, yeah. It was
And then
15,000 per box.
It dropped right down to 3,000, and from it dropped to 3,000, it now past 8.
And it only came back up because the farmers were complaining so much.
Training, they were
Let's have full cost benefit analysis of this coffee thing. Why it a cost, versus what the whole
We're not hearing you clearly, Dr.
cost
Hahn.
benefit analysis is, because everything a dollar cost basically.
All right.
no,
Somebody wants to know, Jack, you have any more questions?
no, can't cool for now, I will just go and listen.
Yeah, Jack, link up.
All right. I'm going to disconnect you out the box because the
Yeah.
feedback.
Learn this
All right.
but message me now so we can reason more about this coffee thing, because we need to add it up and subtract something and see how best we can make it be of value to the farmers.
Exactly. Somebody is asking, how is it possible to make Jamaica a manufacturing powerhouse? And if the person asking, is it possible to make Jamaica a manufacturing powerhouse? And if the answer is yes, how can we go about making so? This question is coming from over on YouTube.
Okay. The thing is, why a manufacturing powerhouse? Singapore and Jamaica export a container of chips. Right? The value of the container of chips that Jamaica export.
Your volume has dropped, Dr. Hahn. I don't know what you have done different. Your volume dropped right down. Go ahead. A little better.
Singapore and Jamaica both export a container of chips. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, man. The value of the chips that Jamaica export, $1 million US. The value of the chips that Singapore export, 50 million US. Jamaica export a container of banana chips. Singapore export a container of microchips. So manufacturing and powerhouse is about what you are manufacturing. You can manufacture in the whole country. You can manufacture goods that have no value.
No value. Low value goods.
Have no value.
Low tech environment, as you like to say.
You have to begin to look at goods that, when manufactured and exported, is liquor so. But the value so.
True.
Instead of we export some goods where big so, but the value so.
Yeah.
Manufacturing is going to come from our ability to produce electricity at a cheaper rate.
That's right.
And we have to begin to look at how we generate electricity and how we renegotiate the terms and conditions of the electricity providers across the country, because the contracts that these politicians have signed over the years have been, oh my God. So we have to rethink these things, and we have to have leaders who understand sovereign development, sovereign nationality, sovereignty. That's very critical for us as a people. Very, very critical.
Somebody suggesting that we start putting in the solar, like a national solar plan.
I have a team researching that as we speak. Remember, we're not in power. So a lot of the benevolence that we really want, and the subsidies and the waivers that we really hope that we can implement to enhance the productivity of the country. We've seen this government for 8 years, almost 9, and there are no solutions. There are no solutions because there's no will. Things happen because of two things: the will and the ability. There's no will, and there's definitely not the ability. So they can go around and collect honorary doctorates, man. When you open your mouth, people know who you are and what you stand for. When you walk, people know who you are and what you stand for. When you act, people know who you are and what you stand for. And these things will not change.
Somebody, Jordan again asking about the logistics hub.
We have a big plan for that, man. We were the ones who originated it. Kamla, I'll suggest that you bring Anthony Hilton. He just did his budget speech last week. So I'm going to suggest that you reach out to him. I'll tell him also that it's important for him to come on the show and give him a little boost, and you get him to come and speak more about logistics and the plans that we have in play. But we have some real good plans in play
Boy,
for
listen,
Jamaica.
no, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us here
Yeah,
on politics. I
I'm
know
not.
say you're traveling and you're busy, but
Yeah,
I
man.
really
If I were
appreciate
in
it.
Jamaica, I would be on the road campaigning
I
because I take
know.
my politics very serious. So it's just because I'm here now, I can find some time to cool off my brain and abstract myself out of the noise and come to have this discussion. But we are improving on the ground, and if you don't have a seat, you don't have a say. So all the talking that we do as opposition, if we don't win, it no matter. So
It's right.
like talking has become so redundant. One time every year me analyze the budget and me host a big budget forum at UB. I realize
Yep.
every year me wake up and discuss the same thing, man. So
I remember when you used to do that.
so me change the gear and
Yeah.
right down to one gear and left the engine a truckle and run out of the car and do some other things. Me still come back.
I like that analogy. I love that analogy.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure, Kamala. Have a lovely
Thank you
evening,
so
lovely
much.
lady.
Thank you
And a
so
lovely
much,
evening to
Andre.
your listeners as well.
Yeah,
Lots
man.
of
Take care of yourself. All right.
So is this show being recorded on
Yeah,
YouTube?
man. It's on YouTube. We have it on YouTube. And what I normally do, I normally cut it because we're on YouTube live, but I'm going to isolate the interview and I'll send it to you. So you have a copy of it.
All right. Thank you so much, Kamala. Lots
You
of
are more than
blessings. All right.
welcome.
And have a great
Thank you. Bless up yourself. Take care. Bye bye. That's it.